What's up, guys? We are back with a full slate of NCAA basketball action here on Monday, February 17th. We're going to break down almost every game tonight. We're going to look at bets on the side and over-under, so make sure to check that pinned comment throughout the day to see if there are any changes as injury news and player availability is confirmed. Sunday did not go the best, guys. We did have a day saver there at the end of the day with Louisville minus 6.5. So cash that one, put that one on the board. But Ohio State minus 2.5, they couldn't come through for us. Nebraska and Northwestern, that over couldn't come through either. Each team took turns. I believe it was Northwestern in the first half shot the ball well, but Nebraska shot the ball terribly, and then vice versa in the second half. We also had New Mexico minus 5.5. They couldn't come through. They did win the game, but not by enough to get us the cover. That Louisville minus 6.5, though, really our saving grace, and that was actually a big winning play as a premium pick over at Stump the Spread. We actually had a positive unit day out on Stump the Spread today in our college basketball plays. We had Iona plus 7. That was a 3-unit play. They come through for us. That Louisville game was a big 5-unit play, minus 6.5. We cashed that one. We did have Ohio State also as a premium play, minus 2.5. That was only a 3-unit play, though, so we come out on top, guys. That is a, plus 4.27 units. We will definitely take that. So a nice day over there for the premium members. Obviously, we're looking to go undefeated, but that's not always going to be the reality. That's why they call it gambling. If you want to win all of your bets today, guys, hit that like button. I really appreciate everybody that's been doing that lately. We had one of our most watched videos recently today, and we didn't quite hit 1,000 likes. We hit almost 900. I'm going ahead. I'm fired up. We are doing a Stump the Spread hoodie giveaway, guys. Hoodies are going to look about like this. So get down there in the comments. Let me know what size hoodie you're looking for. I'll do a random drawing, and we will be announcing the winner hopefully on tomorrow's video. If not tomorrow's video, then the next day. And I will, contact you through the YouTube comments. Let me know what size you want on your initial comment if you want to. Regardless, I'll get your information. We'll get that hoodie shipped out to you as soon as possible. Also, subscribe to the channel, guys. We're doing another hoodie giveaway when we get to 50,000 subscribers. We're about 2,500 subscribers away, something like that. So we're closing in on that as well. You can now also sign up for a channel membership by clicking the little join button right below the video. Members get exclusive early access to all of my videos and get their names up on screen just like right now. I really appreciate the support from all of you. Seeing that badge next to your comments really keeps me fired up on a daily basis. Just keep pumping out this content. And guys, I think I should definitely do a giveaway for my channel members. So we'll do a hoodie giveaway for you guys as well once I figure out how exactly to do that, how I'm going to figure out how to do that though. But I'll know very, very soon. We're going to fire up a hoodie giveaway for you guys that are the channel members as well. And I think we've got like 60-ish, 70-ish channel members. So you have a much better chance to get a free hoodie in there than you do, in all the comments of everybody that comments on the channel. So with all the giveaway stuff out of the way, guys, I want to mention that all of our videos are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. We have a team of experienced cappers over there for every major sport, currently covering NBA, college basketball, UFC, and the NHL. We've got Major League Baseball right around the corner. Click the link in the description to get over to StumpTheSpread.com and check us out. If you're not sure if a premium package is right for you right now, just try us out by signing up for our free email list. That'll give you updates on our results and free picks straight to your inbox. Comment below with any bets you're looking at today. I'll give you my best advice on all of them. Also comment below, like I said, to get entered for the hoodie giveaway. I respond to every single comment every day, so let us know anything you want to say about my picks, these videos, or anything you see here. As always, our favorite picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the day. We've got Prairie View A&M going on the road to take on Grambling. Prairie View comes into this game only 3-9 in conference play. They're 4-21 on the season, so it's been a rough year for the Panthers. They're coming off a 12-point loss there at Southern, so obviously not the best result in that one. This team's numbers aren't, as catastrophically bad as you might expect. They're 200-ish in the nation in points per game. Their defense, though, so bad, and the rebounding is almost non-existent. At Southern, we didn't see anything too special, guys. It's kind of what you'd expect to see. They got crushed on the boards, didn't shoot the ball particularly well, and come away with a 12-point loss. So will they be able to turn it around here on the road against Grambling? I mean, the Tigers haven't had a great year either. 8-17 on the season. They've won 2 out of their last 3, but are fresh of a loss against Texas Southern. So yeah, Texas Southern, I mean, they're a better team than Grambling, in terms of conference record and all that kind of stuff. Grambling sitting at only 5-7 in conference play. So I guess losing that game isn't too shocking, but they didn't put up the best fight. And yeah, I mean, they've done some positive things over the course of the season. I have to give them a little bit of credit, but it has certainly not been what I would term as smooth sailing. They actually lost against Prairie View earlier this season, getting blown out on the road in that one. So Grambling definitely has something to prove here. Their season numbers very, very bad though, guys. Not a great rebounding team. Better than Prairie View, I'll give them that, but not a great rebounding team. Their offensive numbers very, very lacking, and they're not really a great defensive team either. So looking at the numbers for this game, guys, see Grambling, they're 7.5 point favorites. We've got a total of 142.5. Prairie View 9-9 against spread on the road, 12-12 to the over/under. Grambling, somehow, guys, they are 0-6 against spread at home. That's obviously an NCAA worst mark at home. They are 13-8-1 to the under. So, guys, I think under 142.5 definitely live in this game. I also think that, taking Prairie View and the points here is pretty much live, but this isn't a spot I'm going to have a ton riding on. These are two teams that I don't really have a ton of trust in, and given what I've seen from them lately, I do think this one could kind of go either way, but I definitely think the under has a lot of value. Both these teams kind of suck, and offense can be kind of hard. Next on the docket, we're looking at Jackson State going on the road to take on Bethune-Cookman. The Jackson State Tigers 8-17 on the season. They're fresh off a tough 5-point loss there at Florida A&M, which Florida A&M, they've been one of the tougher teams out there in the SWAC, so not that shocked to see Jackson State come out on the short end of that one. They are still 8-4 in conference play, so they're right there with Florida A&M, but yeah, that's a tough team right now, and I mean, in that game, we did see some positives for both teams, obviously, but the Jackson State Tigers shot only 16% from the three-point line, so that's going to be pretty hard to win games that way. They kept things even on the boards, though. I would say that's a positive. They did a good job getting to the free throw line and made most of their free throws, but you just can't shoot the ball that poorly from three and expect to win very many basketball games, not in this day and age. So we'll see what the Tigers can do on the road here. Bethune-Cookman, the Wildcats, they're 11-14 on the season. They're fresh off a loss against Alcorn St. So yeah, another loss against a pretty crowded middle of the pack there in terms of the standings in the SWAC. That's not a terrible loss, though, so I'm not going to give them too much crap. They had won 4 in a row before that, so credit where credit is due. I mean, Trey Thomas, a monster, 16 points per game, at least a monster by SWAC standards. This team, though, not great offensively, very, very weak defensively, and the rebounding numbers, once again, just not very good. A lot of that can be chalked up to pace of play, but just not a rebounding team or defensive team that I am too impressed by. So looking at the numbers here, guys, Bethune-Cookman, 2.5-point favorites at home. We've got a total of 144.5. Jackson State, 10-8 against spread on the road, 15-10 to the over. Bethune-Cookman, 4-2 against spread at home, 13-12 to the over. I'm not going to be taking over 144.5 in this game. You can definitely talk me into Bethune-Cookman at home at -2.5. I mean, going up against Jackson State, a team that they lost at Jackson State by only 5 in a very competitive game, I think we could see the revenge angle here for Bethune-Cookman. Rolling right along, guys, we're looking at the Patriot League. We've got the Lehigh Mountain Hawks going on the road to take on the Bucknell Bison. Lehigh comes in this game 10-15 on the season, fresh off a nice win against Holy Cross, winning that game 72-60. So definitely some positives to take from that game over the course of the season, being only 5-9 in conference play. Let's not overreact too much. This team doesn't really have, a monster leading scorer. They can score the ball a little bit through defense, not so hot. They did only give up 60 points against Holy Cross. Not a terrible team, not a team way below the level of Lehigh. So they played a good game there, shot 43% from the field. They did a good job at the free throw line. They had a big edge there on the board. So really just a nice game there at home from Lehigh. Will they be able to take this success on the road against Bucknell? Well, we're going to have to see, guys. The Bison, 13-14 on the season. They're actually third in the Patriot League right now they're tied with Army and behind American by, a couple games. So we'll see what they can do here. They're fresh off a win at Lafayette, which taking down Lafayette, not really the biggest deal, but they've won 5 out of their last 6. Pretty nice stuff there. A blowout win against American. That looks really, really good on the old, not really resume, but you guys know what I mean. These, non-division, not non-crazy level, non-power conference teams. Those are big wins when they beat the best team in their conference. Noah Williamson putting up 17 points per game, shooting 53% from the field. Very impressive stuff. This team can score it. Their defense, not so great. They did give up 116 points in a crazy, crazy multiple overtime thriller there against Army, but this is a pretty good team, guys. They've been playing well recently, so I'm liking what I'm seeing right now from Bucknell. So are the odds makers. They've got them at 5.5-point favorites. We've got a total of 139.5. Lehigh 6-7 against spread on the road, 15-8 to the under. Bucknell 6-6 against spread at home, 16-11 to the over. So the last time we saw these two teams meet up, guys, Lehigh actually got the 2-point win. So once again, we've got the revenge angle, in mind here for Bucknell. So give me the Bucknell Bison at home in this game, but I think this is probably not going in the pinned comment, although I don't think it's 0% chance. Hey guys, jumping in here with a quick ad break. This is a great time to sign up for StumpTheSpread.com. Signing up for a premium membership gets you access to our top confidence plays on all the major sports. We're currently covering NCAA basketball, the NBA, NHL, UFC, and the NFL. We have a team of professional cappers that work extremely hard putting in the research on these games every day so you don't have to. We make things very easy for you with pick notifications directly to your phone and unit sizes assigned to each play so you can see where our confidence level is on every individual matchup. To test out the service before before you buy, join our free email list to get the occasional free or premium pick straight to your inbox. Just click the link in the description to sign up for a free account. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Now, guys, back to the games. Rolling right along, guys, we are back to the SWAC. We've got Alcorn State going on the road to take on Florida A&M. The Alcorn State Braves, guys, they come into this game winners of their last 4 in a row, taking on Grambling, Arkansas Pine Bluff, Mississippi Valley State, and Bethune-Cookman. A win at Bethune-Cookman their last time out, so good stuff. That's a nice win. Alcorn State 8-4 in conference play. They've been making it happen with a pretty slow pace of play, but they've amped things up a little bit recently over their last few games, scoring 79, 86, and 78 points respectively. Way, way, way above their season averages. They've been doing this without, a big time leading scorer, so that's interesting. The defense, though, still a big question mark for me, really, when they play these better teams. So we'll see what they get done. They have already lost against Florida A&M once this season. They lost by 1 point. So we'll see if they've got their revenge angle on their side in this one. I mean, in that game, we saw Alcorn lose despite shooting 47% from 3 and 82% from the free throw line, and they shot 22 free throws against the Florida A&M only 7 free throws. They made 4 out of 7. So not the best loss, not the best looking loss there for Alcorn State. They're going to need to play much better here against a Florida A&M team that's been playing great recently. They've won 8 out of their last 9 games, with the only loss being by a single point against Alabama State. Their last time out, they beat Jackson State 76-71. They've been just playing really, really well recently. They've got a monster in Sterling Young. I like what we've seen, in terms of, just their numbers in general look better than what you would expect in this conference. They're a good rebounding team. Their defense, not insane, but it's been much better recently, and their offensive numbers are very, very solid. So look at the numbers for this one, guys. Florida A&M -1.5 for this game. We've got a total of 137.5. Alcorn State 11, 4-2 against spread on the road, 14-10 to the under. Florida A&M 7-1 against the spread at home, 12-10 to the under. I'm not taking the under in this game, although you could talk me into it. My under plays feel a little bit cursed right now, but I'm definitely taking Florida A&M at home in this one. It was very, very lucky that the first meeting between these two teams that was at Alcorn State was even close. I think Florida A&M is by far the better team. I think they get a comfortable win in this one, so -1.5 doesn't bother me at all. Next up, guys, headed to the Southland. We're looking at McNeese going on the road to take on Southeast Louisiana. McNeese comes into this game fresh off of another win, a 4th straight win. They took down New Orleans 78-64. So not necessarily laying the huge blowout wins on teams like they have at other points. I mean, the last time they played, SELA, they did win by a ton. Was it 28 or something like that? So we'll see if they can, find a similar result here. Obviously, the McNeese Cowboys feel like they are the best team in the Southland, and they've shown that pretty convincingly. I mean, they're first in the conference, 14-1 in conference play. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, SELA is right there in second place, so this is a huge game. I mean, we see McNeese 129th in the nation in points per game. They're a very good defensive team. Their rebounding numbers are good, so we'll see what they can do in this one. Obviously, they've been playing some kind of weak opposition, and will SELA fall into that category? Well, the Lions are 17-9 on the season. They've won their last 5 in a row, so doing a lot of positive stuff out there, but yeah, I mean, a 3-point win against Nicholls, a 9-point win against Houston Christian. Like, these are fine wins, but they don't really make me think this team is necessarily on the same level. It took them overtime to get that Nicholls win. Like, a crazy buzzer beater in that one. It was nuts. A highly contested 3, knocked it down. Sam Hines Jr., a monster, don't get me wrong. This team's season-long numbers look decent. They look vaguely similar to what we see from McNeese, but are they really on that same level, guys? I mean, SELA, they are getting 8.5 points in this game. We've got a total of 136.5. McNeese 5-4 against spread on the road, 13-11-1 to the under. SELA 3-3-1 against the spread at home, 14-9-1 to the under themselves. I'm not taking under 136.5. You're not convincing me to take an under of a number at that size, but I will take McNeese here at -8.5. I think they get up for this game. I think we see another blowout statement win as they slap down a team that's, tried to, make a case that they're on a similar level. I think we see a blowout win here for the McNeese Cowboys. Staying in the Southland, guys, we are looking at Stephen F. Austin going on the road to take on East Texas A&M. Stephen F. Austin, the Lumberjacks, 13-13 on the season. They've won their last 4 in a row, so very good stuff there. I mean, wins against East Texas A&M, a loss against Lamar, but beating New Orleans in a very close game. Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, Rio Grande, and Northwestern State. Their last time out in a crazy 2-point game. They've been playing some really close games. This team does play some defense. They're an elite rebounding team, which is a huge deal. Not something you see too often in these non-power conference teams, but they've definitely got it here. They've played pretty well. The last time they played East Texas A&M, they ended up winning that game by 7 points at home. Now they're getting a chance to go on the road and show what they can do, and we'll see. They've got a pretty solid leading scorer in Matt Heyman, but well, it could be a little bit tough, although the East Texas A&M Lions have not been a tough team, guys. They're currently the bottom team in the Southland. They're coming off a loss against Lamar, a 10-point loss against Lamar, which Lamar's one of the better teams in the conference, so I'm not going to give them too much trouble for that, but we'll see what they can do here against a Stephen F. Austin team that they lost at Stephen F. Austin already this season by 7 points. Stephen F. Austin jumped out to a 10-point lead and ended up winning the game by 7, so pretty much just held on to things. Texas A&M, or East Texas A&M, shot the ball really well from 3 in that game, shot 44% from long range. We saw this kind of a similar situation, though, there from Stephen F. Austin. They shot 54, almost 55% from long range in the game. They had a small but solid rebounding edge. So, yeah, just can either team do the same thing in this one? It seems kind of unlikely to me. East Texas A&M, they're getting 3.5 points at home. We've got a total of 132.5. Stephen F. Austin, 6-6 against spread on the road, 13-10 to the under. East Texas A&M, 3-8 against spread at home, a really bad home team, and they're a slight under team as well. But like I've been saying, guys, I'm not taking under 132.5, so go ahead and give me Stephen F. Austin here at -3.5. I think we see them get the job done in this one pretty comfortably. Again, I mean, neither team's going to shoot over 50% from the three-point line, I wouldn't think, like was happening in their last matchup, but I definitely think this is a decent spot to go with the Lumberjacks here on the road. Next on the dock, we're looking at the Morgan State Bears. They're going on the road in this one to take on the North Carolina Central Eagles. Morgan State, 10-14 on the season. They're fresh off back-to-back losses. They just got blown out there at South Carolina State, losing that game 90-62. So not a great look. It's not like Morgan State's been amazing this season, but they're 500 in conference play. South Carolina State only 5-3 in conference play. So you would think they could have kept things a little bit more competitive. We don't necessarily hate their offense over the course of the season, but that defense, atrocious, giving up 82 points per game. Like, that's dedication to being terrible on defense. I mean, the last time they faced NC Central, they actually won 102-98 in a double overtime thriller. So we'll see what we get in this one. See if we get anything similar. That was a crazy game. Both teams playing their hearts out. And yeah, what a crazy way. I mean, Morgan State eventually getting the overtime win, but man, can they count on being able to do that? They got to go on the road for this one. So it's going to be an interesting one. I mean, North Carolina Central, they're 11-14 on the season. They come to this game fresh off a nice 71-59 win there over Coppin State, which obviously not a tough team there. They needed that win to snap a 2-game losing streak, but they lost at Norfolk State and at Howard to, at least Norfolk State, the best team in the conference, and Howard, also a very solid team. We like what King's doing this season, 16.5 points per game, shooting 45% from the field. This is also a great offensive team, putting up over 80 points per game. Their defense, much better than what we've seen from Morgan State. So liking the looks here of North Carolina Central, but they're 6.5-point favorites in what, projects to be a very close game. We've got a total of 158.5 here. Morgan State, 5-6 against spread on the road, 13-7 to the over. North Carolina Central, 3-4-1 against spread at home, but 15-7 to the over. Guys, maybe take over 158.5 in this game. I think there'll be plenty of offense. Both these teams can really fill it up, and they like to get up and down. So, yeah, the over makes some sense to me. In terms of a side, I think I've got to take Morgan State and the points, just expecting this to be a very close game. But really, honestly, this game, too close to call for me. Next up, guys, staying in the MEAC, we have the Delaware State Hornets going on the road to take on the Norfolk State Spartans. Delaware State, 13-10 on the season. They're actually in second place there in the MEAC. They are, 5-3 in conference play, so a couple games behind Norfolk State, but they're trying to make a case for themselves. They're trying to position themselves well for the conference tournament, which is coming up, man, crazy fast. We see the Hornets. They're on a 5-game winning streak. I guess that's only 5 games if you count that non-Division 1 game, but still, they've been taking care of business, beating MD, Eastern, Coppin State, Morgan State, and taking down Howard pretty convincingly their last time out. Robert Smith, a monster, almost 17 points and 4 assists per game. We like what we're seeing also from Kasim Watson, shooting over 50% from the field and scoring almost 16 points per game. This offense, very good, top 100 in the nation. They're rebounding excellent as well, 47th in the nation. The defense could use some work for sure, so we'll see what they can get done on that end of the floor, but they've got to be feeling like they've got a chance to get a little bit of revenge, having already lost by 9 points against Norfolk State earlier in the season. And The Spartans, guys, Norfolk State 17-8 on the year. They are 7-1 in conference play. They are fresh off of, a fifth straight win if they count a non-Division I win there. They took down Howard, South Carolina State, NC Central, and MD Eastern. So we'll see if they can run it back here against Delaware State. I mean, Brian Moore Jr., maybe one of the better, probably the best player actually in the MEAC right now. I mean, almost 19 points per game, shooting 55% from the field. My guess would be he'll be out of there and headed to a power conference team and a nice NIL deal, in the offseason. We like what we see from this team offensively. Their defense is good. The rebounding numbers aren't insane, though, so that's a bit of a concern. The last time they faced Delaware State, they were at Delaware State. They won the game by 9 points. We saw Norfolk State really struggle shooting the ball, shot only 4 of 14 from 3, and Delaware State didn't shoot the ball much better. So I think we could see both teams shoot it a little bit better in this one. But guys, I don't know. Norfolk State, they're 9.5-point favorites in this game. We've got a total of 147.5. Delaware State, they're 7-5 against the spread on the road. They're 17-8 to the over. Norfolk State only 4-3 against the spread at home, 11-11 to that over/under. This is another tough one, guys. I'm not going to be on this one in a big way. If you're begging me for a play here, I would maybe lean slightly towards the over and slightly towards Delaware State getting all of those points. I mean, I think this could be a close game. I definitely think it could be a close game. We're obviously going to get a max average performance there from Delaware State, and I would expect Norfolk State to get up for this game as well. So we'll see what happens, but I think it's a close one there at the end. Now, guys, hopping over to look at Coppin State, going on the road to take on South Carolina State. Still out there in the MEAC. Coppin State only 4-19 on the season. They're fresh off a blowout loss at NC Central. It was their second road game in a row. Well, this is going to be their third. So we'll see what they can do, see if there's any improvement on deck. This has been a very weak offensive team, guys. 437th in the nation in points per game. Their defensive numbers also not great. They're a terrible rebounding team. You kind of get where this is headed, guys. This is just not a very good team. Haven't done a lot of positive things this season at all. I mean, yeah, a non-Division I win, a win over NC Central, and a win over MD Eastern, and yeah, that's the story of how you end up 2-6 in conference play and 4-19 on the season. So we'll see what they can do on the road here. Their third straight road game taking on South Carolina State. The Bulldogs 12-12 this season. They've won their last 3 in a row, counting a non-Division I win, but taking down Howard and Morgan State. Not bad, not a bad look. I will give them some credit there where credit is due. They've got, not the best leading scorer. I mean, Drayton Jones, 12, almost 13 points, and they're very efficient points, but this team, guys, I mean, the rebounding not great, but the other numbers look respectable. They're a pretty good offensive team, 78th in the nation, putting up 78.5 points per game. Their defense, not terrible, giving up 70 per game, and they've been playing well here lately, no doubt about that, but have they been playing well enough to, make this number reasonable, guys? They are 16.5-point favorites. We got a total of 139.5. Coppin State 7-9 against spread on the road, 12-9-1 to the under. South Carolina State 6-1 against spread at home, a crazy good home team. They're 12-11 to the over. This is a rough one, guys. I don't know which way to go on this one, to be honest. My gut tells me that we should take Coppin State and all those points, so I think that's what we're going to roll with. But I can't get too involved in this one. This is a really, really tough game to figure out because that's too many points, guys. That is so many points, even for a South Carolina State team that I actually kind of like. Next up, guys, we got the Nicholls Colonels going on the road here to take on the New Orleans Privateers. Nicholls 15-11 on the season, guys. They're kind of in the middle of the pack there in the Southland, but they've done some good things this season, just maybe not lately, losing their last 2 in a row, losing against Northwestern State by 12, and then going on the road to Sela, losing that game by 3 in overtime. That was a tough beat. That was a tough beat for sure. So I'm not going to give them too much trouble for that one, but really, we don't have a ton of great things to say about Nicholls overall at the moment, but they've done some good stuff this season. The last time they played against New Orleans, how did they do? I believe it was a very positive outcome. Yeah, they won 73-70. That was long ago in the early portion of the conference schedule. So we'll see what they've got in store in this one, guys. I mean, they're going on the road to take on the New Orleans Privateers, who are 4-22 on the season, straight up not having a good time. They just lost by 14 against McNeese, which honestly, they kept things relatively competitive in that game, but they're one of the worst 2 teams in the Southland this year. They've got James White on the roster, 19 points per game. Cool. Somebody's got to score him, though. And yeah, this team, not very good offensively. 352nd in the nation. They're only averaging 67 points per game. They're giving up an average of 82.7. Not numbers that make you too excited. Obviously, they did keep things close in this matchup much earlier this season, but that was much earlier, guys. So we'll see what they can do here. They're getting 8.5 points at home. We've got a total of 149.5. Nicholls, guys, 9-2-2 against spread on the road, 12-11 to the under. New Orleans 2-6 against spread at home, 13-13 to that over/under. Guys, I'm taking Nicholls here at -8.5. I think they can definitely win this game by double digits. They are, kind of in need of something positive after losing 2 in a row. I know they're on the road here for the second game in a row, and maybe they'll be deflated by that loss against Sela, but really, I think they're just going to be pissed off trying to win a game here. They want to keep themselves in the top half of the conference so they can position themselves as well as they possibly can for the upcoming conference tournament. Rapid fire through these games, guys. We're looking at the Lamar Cardinals going on the road to take on Northwestern State. Lamar comes in this game 10-16 on the season. They're currently sitting there in third place, but tied for second place in the Southland. So some very positive stuff this year. They've won, 7 out of their last 8. Their only loss was a heartbreaking 2-point loss there at Sela. They're fresh off a 10-point win, against East Texas A&M. So they're doing what they're supposed to do right now, keeping themselves as high in the standings as they can, to have a good shot there in the conference tournament. We love what we're seeing from them offensively at the moment. Their rebounding numbers are insane, and that defense, guys, the defense really good. 66.7 points per game. You do not see that in these non-power conference, teams all that often, especially when they're actually, a pretty good offensive team as well. They're not just like trying to kill the clock, have, good defensive numbers by default because they play a slow pace. Like this Lamar team looks like they're actually good. They're on the road here taking on the Northwestern State Demons, who are 11-14 this year. They're fresh off a tough loss against Stephen F. Austin. Again, they lost by 2 points thanks to Kyle Heyman putting up 25 points. But yeah, that was a rough one by any stretch. They lost at Nicholls earlier this season, or not that much earlier. The last time they played Lamar, it was at Lamar. They lost that game by 10 points. So a revenge angle spot for sure. We'll see what they can do. They're 327th in the nation in points per game. Their defensive numbers look okay, but that's largely a function of their pace of play. Their rebounding numbers, guys, they're okay. They're okay. I'll give them some credit for decent rebounding numbers here. They are 1.5-point favorites at home in this game. We've got a total of 131.5. Lamar, guys, they are 9-2-1 against spread on the road. A great against the spread team on the road. They're 14-9 to the under. Northwestern State, guys, they are 3-5-1 against spread at home and a staggering 15-6-2 to the under this year. We got a total of 131.5. I don't think I'm getting involved in a total that small. If you guys wanted to take the under because of that big trend and both teams trending that way, I totally get it. I personally am kind of staying away from over-under plays right now because we've just been running so bad on them. But a non-over-under play, I love Lamar in this spot. This has a great chance to end up in the pinned comment. This could even end up as a premium pick. We already saw Lamar win in this specific matchup, and they won it by 10 points. And it wasn't even that long ago. A 69-59 win. Nothing wrong with that. We saw Lamar shoot the ball mediocre from 3 in that game. Even numbers at the free throw line. Even numbers in terms of rebounds. I don't see any reason we shouldn't have a very similar result in this game. Next up, guys, we're looking at Incarnate Word going on the road to take on UT Rio Grande Valley out there in the Southland. Incarnate Word, they haven't had the worst season, but also not the best season. They got a win over New Orleans, but followed that up with a tough 69-55 loss against Texas A&M Corpus Christi. We'll see what they can do here against UT Rio Grande Valley, a team they lost to early in the year. The Incarnate Word Cardinals, guys, not a monster of a team. Davion Bailey, 17 points per game. Okay, that's fine. Their offensive numbers, around 200th in the nation. Not a very good defensive team, not a very good rebounding team. The ball movement the squad puts up, not great either. So I think they could have their hands full going on the road here to take on the Vaqueros, who are 14-12 this year. They're fresh off of a win over Houston Christian, a blowout 76-52 win. Houston Christian, a team above them in the standings out there in the Southland, so that definitely qualifies as a good win. This team's around 100th in the nation in points per game. They rebound the ball. They don't play much defense. I gotta at least say that they do not play a ton of defense, but they've done some positive things this season. Not a team that relies too much on any one guy, so that's kind of interesting. The odds makers, I like them. We see UT Rio Grande Valley 3.5-point favorites here at home. We've got a total of 147.5. Incarnate Word 6-5 against spread on the road, 12-9-1 to the under. Rio Grande Valley 4-5 against spread at home, 11-10-1 to the over. I'm taking Rio Grande Valley here at home. I don't think it's got enough juice to necessarily end up in the pinned comment. It's just not a team that I quite trust enough here, and they're coming off kind of a big win, so maybe this is a letdown spot, but I do think the value in this one definitely on the home team. Next up, guys, finally a power conference game. We've got a big one. We've got number 3 Duke going on the road here to take on Virginia. Duke comes into this game 22-3 on the season, fresh off a blowout win there against Stanford. I thought that might be a little bit of a trap game for Duke, but they took care of business, winning that one 106-70. So yeah, the casual 36-point win. Cooper Flagg putting up amazing numbers, 20 points per game, 4 assists per game, shooting nearly 50% from the field. Duke just doing everything you could possibly ask. I mean, 36th in the nation in scoring, allowing only 60 points per game. They're a top 50 or 60 rebounding team as well. Like, this team putting up all the numbers you could possibly ask them to put up. So we'll see what they can do here. They are going on the road to play in, an environment that has historically been maybe slightly problematic for them. I mean, they are coming off of a monster game, and they seem to be on a little bit of a mission. This could be a look-ahead spot, though. I am worried about that. They do have Illinois on deck as an interesting non-conference opponent there. So we'll see what they do on the road against the Cavaliers, who are 13-12 this season. They've won 3 in a row. They're taking down Pitt at Pitt, beating Georgia Tech handily, and then getting the very nice, win in a big rivalry game, winning by 3 points there at Virginia Tech. So liking what we're seeing right now. This team still pretty much a defense-first squad. I mean, they played a very slow pace. They put up very weak offensive numbers, putting up 70, 73, 75, and 73 over their last few games, though. Shows they're at least shooting the ball well. Going up against a team like Duke, though, what can we expect from them? I mean, there's not a whole lot of teams like Duke out there, so there's not a lot of easy comps here. But this team, guys, I mean, yeah, they're getting 14.5 points at home. We've got a total of 130.5. Duke, 6-2 against spread on the road, 14-11 to the under. Virginia, 7-7 against spread at home, 15-10 to the over. This is a rough one, guys. I'm leaning here a little bit towards Duke at -4.5, but I do not have a ton of faith in this one. With it being a look-ahead spot there for Duke, we see, Virginia, they've got North Carolina on deck, so I don't know if a look-ahead spot's even possible in this situation. But if Duke does slow down and play at the pace that Virginia wants to play at, it'll be a close game, but it's kind of hard to make Duke do that. So you could talk me into the Blue Devils at -14.5 in this one as well. Like, this is really kind of a pick-your-own-adventure situation. Next up, guys, we're heading to the Big 12. We've got Kansas State going on the road to take on Utah. Kansas State comes into this game playing some of their best ball of the season, but they're fresh off a tough loss. They had won, 6 in a row, taking down West Virginia, Oklahoma State, Iowa State, Arizona State, Kansas, Arizona, and then they lose, getting blown out there, losing 80-65 at BYU. So now they got to go on the road again. They're taking on a Utah team that, has not had an amazing conference schedule. They're only 6-8 in conference play. Kansas State only 7-7 though. In that blowout loss against BYU, just not a lot of positives to point to there for Kansas State. Obviously playing at BYU, not the easiest place to play, but the bench was very, very mediocre. Doug McDaniel, the only guy that played well there for the Wildcats. So really the whole team finds itself in a bounce back here as they go on the road to take on the Utah Utes, who are 14-11 on the season. They're fresh off of a massive blowout win, not a blowout win, a massive upset win over Kansas, winning 74-67. So this is a huge, pretty much as big of a letdown spot as you could get for Utah. I mean, we love what we've seen from guys like Gabe Madsen this season, almost 16 points per game, but when shooting under 40% from the field, that gets a little bit questionable. This is a good rebounding team, but the defense isn't great. The offensive numbers are not necessarily reliable, but they are playing at home here, so got to give them, a little bit of, credit or be a little bit afraid of them. But guys, Utah, they're 2.5 point favorites. We got a total of 145.5. Kansas State 5-4 against spread on the road, 14-11 to the under. Utah 10-6 against the spread at home, 15-10 to the under. Guys, I'm taking Kansas State and the points on the road here in a huge letdown spot for the Utah Utes. It's a bounce back spot for a Kansas State team that's been playing really, really well. This one has a chance to end up in the pinned comment potentially. I think the Wildcats are really the way to go unless I find out something new about this game that I don't like. So definitely leaning towards Kansas State in a huge bounce back spot against a team that's in a huge letdown spot. Next up, guys, we got Texas Southern going on the road to take on Southern in the SWAC. Texas Southern comes into this game 11-14 on the year, fresh off a 7-point win against Grambling. So yeah, not a bad win there. I mean, Kavion McClain, a solid player, guys, shooting nearly 40% from the field, scoring 15 points and putting up 5 rebounds per game. Nothing wrong with that. The last time they took on Southern this season, they came away with a 9-point loss, and that was at home for the Tigers. So that's a little bit concerning as they go into this matchup. I mean, they're taking on a Southern Jaguars team that's 16-9 on the year. They're currently in the top spot out there in the SWAC with an 11-1 conference record. They've been kind of running roughshod over the conference, with the only hiccup being that loss at Alabama State, which was a 1-point heartbreaker there for them to lose. So they got to feel pretty good. I mean, they're going up against a team that they already beat by, 9 points this season, and that was on the road. We saw, the Southern Jaguars in that game. And this game was a long time ago, albeit, but Southern shot 44% from three-point range in that game, and they, had a little bit of an edge on the boards. They played great defense, and that overcame them being at a big free throw deficit in this one. And now they're going to be playing at home, so they probably don't feel like they're going to get, nearly as homered in this spot. And their season-long numbers, very, very solid, guys. A top 100, a top 80 even rebounding team. Their offense is good. Their defense is good. So I'm not surprised to see them as 6.5-point favorites here at home. We've got a total of 141.5. Texas Southern, 5-9 against spread on the road, 12-10-1 to the under. Southern, guys, 2-4 against spread at home, 12-10 to the under. Do I expect this to be a close game with both teams showing, slight trends towards the under? The last time they met, it wasn't, it wasn't a blowout by any stretch. I'm going to be siding here slightly towards Southern at home regardless, but not a play that I can justify really putting in the pinned comment, as, I could see this being a one-possession game down there at the end without too much trouble. Last but not least, guys, we've got one of the biggest games on the slate for the night. We've got number 13, Arizona, the Wildcats, going on the road to take on the Baylor Bears. Arizona comes in this game 17-8 on the season, but they've lost their last 2 in a row. They kept things very competitive against Houston. They did eventually lose by 4 points there to the number 6 team in the nation, but they kept things pretty close. They did some positive things in that game. The game before that, they lost at Kansas State. That's not an amazing loss, but Kansas State has been playing amazing. We like what we've seen from Caleb Love this season, although shooting under 40% from the field doesn't look great. This is a very good rebounding team. The season-long numbers for the Wildcats look amazing, to be honest. I mean, their assist numbers are great. Their scoring numbers are very, very good. They play some good defense. The question is, are they going to be able to lock in and kind of turn things around here against a Baylor team they already beat once this season by 11 points? That one was at home, and they will be on the road for this game. So we'll see how things go. I mean, Baylor comes into this one at 16-9 on the season, fresh off a 3-point win against West Virginia. They just lost against Houston also. It wasn't quite as close. They beat the crap out of UCF. We'll give them some credit. I mean, this Baylor team's done some good stuff, but not enough to really, get me super jacked about them. I mean, 8-6 there in conference play. Like, all right, you've done some good stuff, but yeah, I don't know if I'm really ready to, start celebrating. I mean, Arizona's 11-3 in conference play, so Baylor could really use this win. They are 1.5-point favorites at home. We've got a total of 151.5. We see, the last time these two teams met, Baylor taking the 11-point loss. The Bears shot 30% from 3 in that game. Arizona shot 50% from 3, and we saw Arizona get a ton more free throws than Baylor in that one. So that was a big, big part of the why that one went towards Arizona. The total here is 151.5. Arizona 5-3 against spread on the road, 14-11 to the over. Baylor 7-5 against the spread at home, 15-9 to the over. So two teams trending towards the over. I could definitely wrap my head around taking over 151.5 in this game for sure, but I really think this is a great revenge spot and kind of a desperation spot here for a Baylor Bears team that, kind of needs to be winning some games here down the stretch. I mean, I guess you'd say the same thing for Arizona as well, though. So, yeah, give me Baylor -1.5 in this one at home. I think this is a good spot to take the home team in, a pretty interesting, one of the biggest games on the slate as well. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets. Comment on this video to get your name in the the raffle there to win this free hoodie giveaway. Also, if you wanted to let me know your hoodie size there in the comments, that would help as well. But I also have to get your address if you win the giveaway. So we'll figure that all out down the road. Let me know in the comments any other questions you have on today's slate. Thanks for watching. Click the link in the description to check out StumpTheSpread.com. We'll get you on the free email list at least. If not, sign up for a premium package as well. So that's all I've got for this one, guys. We'll see you tomorrow for more sports betting action.